Well, good day, good day, good day. And I would like to welcome each and every one of you to a wonderful moment or two to chat here with All for Success. You guys, I have been so glad to have you here and to know that you spend some of your time just sitting down and listening to me chat, or if you're moving about. I think it's great. I'm so glad that you're here to do that. And it really is something that I enjoy. So, good day, good day, good day. And again, welcome to All for Success. So, in general, as you're watching the coffee being made, if you can see that, I would love for you to either do the same, or if you're out and about running errands, or if you're out and about doing your exercises, to have a moment to sit and listen, or listen as you're moving while we're chatting here, or while I'm kind of going on about what my thoughts are for this week. This here is a Sussex friendly channel. Now, what does that mean? It means that I like to talk about things that are going on in the world from the viewpoint of a parent of the family, Harry and Meghan, and Archie and Lilibet, right? And the reason that I say that is because I too am a parent of adult children. So I'm watching these two young people navigate the world and being assaulted with thought processes that are applied by elderly people and parents themselves with different viewpoints and various slants on how these two young people, young-ish people, should react to the world that they are finding themselves navigating. So I have enjoyed watching these people maneuver in this setting, and I am totally awe-inspired sometimes by what I see. And I can't help but look at these things from the perspective, for example, of Doria, Megan's mother, because that's where I would see myself in this particular scenario. So again, this is a Sussex free channel. I mean, sorry, Sussex free, but Sussex supportive channel. Now, what I'm not going to do, because I'm kind of reintroducing myself here, and the reason for that, folks, is that I've been trying to test and work with other software and how the streaming algorithms work. I'm still a learner, and I must be a very slow learner because I tell you what, catching on to some of the details of this is really interesting. It's intriguing, but I'm still stepping through it. But in that process, I have found that I'm probably one of the few people in this category that does not seek to be as horrible to other individuals as I can be. It's been interesting to me to watch how the UK media, and I'm going to say specifically the tabloid media, and how it has leached out into the worldosphere as well as the US media. You see these absolutely hate filled, vitriolic, monstrous discussions happening where these people have been set free to say things in the most absolutely, I'm going to use the word violent, derogatory speech that they can come up with that is allowed on TV and radio. And nowadays, what we find is that there is so much more that is allowed. That is, provided you are on the right side, depending upon who your employer, or in our case, as folks who are streaming online, provided that you are on the specific front of the streaming service, perhaps, and those who are in control of it, right? So we want to always keep that in mind when we are in these forums and when we are speaking about people just in general. Now, I just don't have that normal um, tendency to just vitriolically and violently be derogatory about other people. What I will do is I will talk about what you are doing. I will talk about what you are saying, right? I will point those things out. And so, in that way, I am speaking to you not generally as a human being, but your character and your behavior. So, that is where we are observing the character and the behavior of all things in the UK tabloid media, right? So, with that being said, again, get your coffee. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to go. Now, I'm going to see if I can get the slides going in this medium the way that I properly need to do them. But I am so glad that you guys are here and patient with me as I jump on the struggle bus to provide this wonderful chat forum. I love it. And please feel free to drop chats in the comment section. I love to see them. I love to read them. If I don't catch them right away, I'm often able to get to them later. And so you might get a post from me a week or two later in reference to something that was put in the comments. And I am so excited to see that. Also, now that you're here, now that you're ready, please push that like button. Also, share. We can get the numbers up. Find some people out there in the street and give them this chat line and say, hey, join this chat on Saturday mornings. It'll make you a better person. All right. Also, please subscribe. That way, you'll get sometimes a notification. That is, if all technical things are working properly, you'll get a little notification that, hey, I'm jumping online. Unfortunately, that's also if I'm testing something or if I'm in the middle of doing something really ridiculous. So I want you all to know that those things will be coming up. And I'm so glad as you all support. Okay, so as we are up and looking at our slide, if you're out exercising, please let us know what kind of workout routines you might be doing because it will help encourage all of us and many of those who need to get out there and go for a walk. I'm going to put in the chat here that I walked daily. Yes, I did. About 1.5 miles. I did reduce it a little bit, and it's basically because of the heat. So it's not that I didn't want to get out and keep walking, but I got a little hot. And the temperature here is going up a bit, and they are encouraging everyone to be very careful with some of the heat levels that we are dealing with. Okay, so what did he say? That's like a sponsor's note. Okay, so guys, guess what? Our wonderful couple, they've decided, you know what? We're going to do some traveling. People have been very kind to us. They've invited us to come and see some things. It's just like the trip they took to Jamaica to go and watch the Bar Marley video. Should this be a big deal as far as something negative to say? No. Under normal circumstances, why would there ever be a negative word spoken because a couple got on an airplane or got on a boat or got in a car, traveled somewhere, met some people, ate some great food, and had fun? Can you think of any circumstance where two people can go and travel and there's something negative to say about it? Like you would go and follow these people around and try your best to pick apart everything they do. Oh my goodness. Let's say something negative about somebody they met. Oh my gosh. Isn't this person some sort of bad individual? How about the place that they go? Let's say something negative about that place. It's fine when other people go. Meanwhile, these people have met other people and it's been fine. But when it comes to Harry and Meghan, we need to stop, halt and freeze. We need to retrain our thoughts on how can we possibly make this a bad thing, right? It doesn't matter what they do. Whatever it is, it's bad. And the interesting thing about this process, the interesting thing about this perspective coming out of the UK tabloid media, which of course everyone who is conscious is absolutely aware that you have promoted this negativity. Why? Because from the highest position in your country, you have been given the green light to be an attack dog. Correct? Now, here's what you're being told as a person that has been hamstrung in the position of giving the green light to attack these two people. What is happening must be that you feel, and that agency must feel, that losing these two individuals to their day-to-day assault and their day-to-day total control was just too great of a loss. It is a loss that that agency simply cannot bear. And thus, the only recourse that they have, since they lost their total control of these people, the method of telling them where to go, what to do, how to look, how to act, because they lost that absolute control, they simply cannot bear it. And for that reason, and that reason alone, they have chosen to be the most absolute destructive of forces, not only in their lives, but in the lives of their offspring forever. Now, this is something, unfortunately, that those who support this family, you have to come to terms with this. They will never stop. This type of destruction, and I'm going to say wish for destruction, is heavily funded, right? It is no different than what was heavily funded and continues to be funded in our realm here in the United States. I mean, for those of you who might not be familiar with it, we have a country that when there are political forces at work or political forces in question, if there are things that are going to be supported versus something not supported, there is a lot of money. Oh my goodness, green dollars, money that is forced into these arguments. And it creates a situation that a person who is willing to do anything for money, they can become wealthy, rich, in fact, by supporting or standing behind any particular faction. So, for example, this faction, the Destroy Harry and Meghan faction, it is a bottomless pit of money, right? I'm on YouTube. I'm working to try to get a couple of followers here and there. One day I might become monetized in this event. Who knows? But if you jump on YouTube today and the top headline and thumbnail that you have says, "We despise, hate, can't stand Harry and Meghan," you will have 5,000 followers by the afternoon. Now, I don't know if these are, what do you call, total bots, or if they are fake followers. I don't know if perhaps someone has funded an organization in countries like India, Macedonia, or Poland and Romania where they have hundreds of people working in bot farms, and all they do is click on articles, right? Click the like button on articles, and they have fake names and they pretend to be organic people, but that is their job. Hundreds of people whose time is paid for to just sit and click on various articles if they have a moderate command of English, which is why sometimes you read comments that are absolutely grammatically ridiculous, right? But there is a bottomless pit of money to fund the hate. And it is the same here in our world. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some things kind of in a lighthearted fashion, kind of. But we're going to talk about some of the things that are going on as of like the recent few days, few weeks. So one of the big deals that was happening in the UK from the UK royal world, right? One of the huge things that was happening, one of the events, because remember, the royal family and all of their ancillary personalities, they have zero existence outside of events, correct? So they have no purpose. They have no personality of their own. They have no reason to exist outside of scheduled events, right? So one of the greatest events that happened perhaps this week was there was a wedding. And remember, the royal family, they're always on tap for showing up at weddings of very wealthy people who might be moderately associated with the royal families. And that's worldwide. Okay. So the worldwide personality getting married was Hugh Grosvenor. Now, for those of you who are in the royal media firm and people who follow all of these aristocratic families, this is Hugh Grosvenor is a very well-known individual, and he's the Duke of Westminster. So just think about that. He too is a duke, just like Harry, right? In other words, that means in general, he has somewhat of an oversight and he somewhat benefits from all things occurring in Westminster. These guys back in the past, they were somewhat considered the lord of that area. So all businesses kind of ran through them. So he's a duke as well. And the history that is assigned with that Westminster area, it is way back where his father was considered, I think his name, I'm going to try to read this at the bottom. I have to struggle sometimes. I can't see these things that I put here. But the ancestor in his family was Sir Thomas Grosvenor. So for those of you who have a lot of interest in all things ancient or medieval, it's a interesting story because they developed the land, and that land became very, very popular and somewhat of an affluent neighborhood. And that's in London. And so that's who he is. He's considered one of the wealthiest people in the UK. And he married a young lady named Olivia Henson. I have no information about this woman, but they said she is an heiress, and that this is where she is a person who was, of course, okay to marry someone of his aristocratic background. So they had this wonderful and beautiful wedding. And it was going to be talked about, of course, and people were going to be taking pictures, especially of the bride. And if you notice there in the picture, there she stands with her train and her gown, and it looks lovely. It has a nice back out. It has a similar feature of lace and stuff across the top. It's very lovely. So they get married. Well, the interesting thing or the interesting aspect of this is the fact that Hugh Grosvenor, he is also the godfather of the children of Harry and Prince William. Prince William and Prince Harry named him as a godfather. Well, it makes sense. I mean, he's wealthy, he's powerful, right? And they were friends. Now, the interesting piece or the thing that creates this little tension is that both William and Harry equally were friends. I don't know who was supposed to be the better friend, but when you think about their relationship, they were both friends of Hugh Grosvenor. So this set up a dynamic where, okay, this is one of the largest weddings in the UK. So now all eyes turn. Will Prince Harry and Prince William both attend this wedding? Because you have a situation that, well, they're both friends of him, but everybody's not supposed to be in proximity to Harry and Meghan, right? So that's the situation. So, of course, the UK tabloid media played this game of, will Harry go? Will Harry not go? Is Meghan going to come? Is Meghan not going to come? Oh my goodness. What if Prince Harry shows up and then Prince William was selected as an usher? Or I guess that would be considered the same as us saying groomsman for this wedding, right? So, what an awkward situation that would produce, wouldn't it? If Harry and Meghan both came and then Prince William is a groomsman. It would create, I guess, a great deal of tension on their um, attitude, and all of the people at the wedding would have to feel like, oh my gosh, can we say hi to Harry and Meghan? Do we need to isolate them and shun them? All of this has to happen, or we don't want William to be on our bad side. And that is what was happening at this wedding. So instead, Prince Harry and Meghan bowed out, right? And so that left them off the table. So instead, of course, that gives the UK tabloid media the opportunity to turn to, oh, well, they didn't come. Can you believe it? And then they'll go on from there, right? But I think it was actually a very well strategized move for him to bow out and to be back in the States after their trip to Nigeria and let William have his moment. Okay. And so here is William's moment. Okay. What is his moment? Well, he got out of the car and van with the other groomsmen as they entered the wedding. Well, that's it, folks. Okay. I don't know if, this was written in the UK tabloid media as they came out to huge crowds. So the huge crowds are all the people who were standing out there, I guess, to get a glimpse of people going to this wedding. The UK personnel, the UK people. For us, we celebrity watch in the US. Sure, if Beyonce's in town, you might get a bunch of young people to go downtown and they want to wave and scream. Yeah, that happens. Michael Jackson, sure, you got it. In the case of the royals, it's more of a kind of a watching frenzy, but it's almost with no I would say no real reward. At least that's how it looks to me. But they did make a big note of the fact that he actually showed up to be the groomsman. And since Prince William was there, I'm sure he was quite pickled with himself that Harry and Meghan were not in attendance. And so that gave him the opportunity to feel like he is the star of a show. Okay? So there he is. Whoop-de-doo. It was reported, and this is offside, that also since he and Prince William and King Charles also attended the D-Day celebration, that is also the type of thing, the type of event, right, that would have brought out what? Military veterans, correct? That's what D-Day is all about. It is a memorial about military veterans. And so who was there? King Charles, right? And Prince William. Two people who are pretend military veterans, right? So that's the kind of thing that they are doing. That's the kind of perception in this world that they are giving, that they are basically superseding the actual reality of any of these events. But they were there at D-Day to shake hands and to grin and to glower. and to be considered elevated by that event. Whereas what they feel they have effectively done is pushed Harry and Meghan into a corner that they are ostracized, right? That is their goal. And trust, they will not end this goal. Now, the only interesting side artifact is, what's the question that is still being asked? Because as King Charles and Prince William try to elevate themselves, they had to disappear any semblance of Kate Middleton being regarded as an important factor, right? So, with her illness and her reduction in service, this also gives Prince William the opportunity to be talked about when he is out and about, regardless of whether anyone is interested, right? It is the perception that is attempting to be created. And so that's how it is. So I, of course, still have, now that we've deviated with all of that, let's look at some of the wonderful and positive things that are going on in the lives of the wonderful Sussex couple. So they're traveling, they're going places, and I like that I stumbled upon an article. I can't remember what magazine it was in. It was one of those articles that was splattered on some site online, so it could very easily not even be real. But I did like what it said. The article made a comment that the team that is working with Harry and Meghan, they made it clear. They said that their conscience is completely clear on this plan, because they do intend to do good wherever they go. And the source continued by saying that it was going to play into what the royal analysts fear, by all but insinuating that the duo see this as fertile competition with the monarchy. And it's because they're spreading a really positive message. And that is true. Harry and Meghan, as far as I'm concerned, they can keep going and doing what they do. And it doesn't matter what state events the King and Prince William participate in. The problem is, it's the royal family that are trying to compete, but they cannot compete in the category that is Harry and Meghan. They are in a completely different realm. And so the royal family should truly continue doing what they do, try their best, and it would behoove them, and I love to use that word from time to time, it would be in their best interest if they would tell the stupid UK tabloid media to stop putting the names of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in every article written about the king and the future king. If every time you open the article, it starts off talking negatively about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, just so that you can pivot and highlight the king and the future king, then I want you to know an announcement that I'm making. Hopefully, the royal firm will be listening. If you do that, it makes you look stupid, right? But I don't think they get it. And for our wonderful couple, their attention and their focus is still moving for the charities that they are associated with, moving into the ventures that they're going to try to expand upon, and all of the things that they're testing, the avenues that they're intending to work on. And then, of course, Invictus, which will continue to be an ongoing feature as long as you have soldiers and servicemen that are continuing to try to bounce back from their service. It's a continuous thing. And Harry, being an actual veteran who has actually served on duty is going to continue to work in that vein. And I hope that he continues to do great things, whatever he does and however he does it. At this point, if he's doing things for good, it's always an excellent thing. Right? At least that's what I say. So let's take a moment here, folks. I'm going to take a quick second, and I want to encourage you, as always. I'm going to say, please like, share, and subscribe, right? We have to always remind people that you need to keep liking and sharing and subscribing, because that's a good thing for us. We want to keep that going. So let me take a peek here, step aside, and let's see who is in the chat. I'm glad to see who made it here today. So let's see who's here. I want to say good morning. Thank you for being here, King for Concepts. Thank you for starting us off. I appreciate it. All right. Also, I want to say good morning, good Saturday morning. Yes, Joyce Anderson. Yay, I'm so glad to see you here as well. And you said you are so ready for some words of wisdom. I can't guarantee it, but I'll try to do my best. I cannot guarantee it, but we will see how I do. Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. Let's see who else we got in here. It's going to take me a while to scroll through. Okay, let's see. We have the name Hen Pal. I like that. You are here often. I'm so glad to see you back again. Hello, all, and I hope you are all having a good day. We're doing the best we can, and we're going to try our best to keep it moving. Oh, I like this. You're saying, Hen Pal is saying that you can't help but wonder why the level of hatred in the media is vile, especially from grown adults. You can't yet. Okay, I would say that, except we understand that it is attached to what? It's attached to money. That's the key, right? And yes, I want to say good morning to Kathy Gabby. You're saying good morning, all for success. Harry said that it will not stop. Exactly. It's truly sad, truly sad. But I mean, you have to kind of come to grips with the type of organization that this is, right? And that they will hunt them one way or the other, whether they are bound or free. Charles really has no say at this point. Now, I'm glad you said that, because this is a wonderful thing that you said. I have been watching every now and then, don't laugh. I watch Korean dramas, Chinese dramas. I love those shows. I love to watch the ones that are of the periods where they're talking about different dynasties. Here is a fact that you are pointing out. The royals, even with all the pomp and circumstances, and you can definitely see it and read it in the dramas that are from Southeast Asia, and China. You can definitely see it. The persons who sit in the seats of the royals, they are the most imprisoned people on this planet. It is amazing how they are basically at the whim, and they are tied to whatever force is in control. And I hate to say it, but it's almost, and I have to apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for all of my sci-fi references. Okay, let's pretend that was a side commercial. Okay, I have to apologize for that. But it's almost as if there is some creature that is in total control, that gives power to these royal entities. And thus, that royal entity must absolutely obey whatever that force is. And you are correct. Charles, probably as king, is powerless to operate as if he wanted to operate as a human being the way he wants to operate. And here's where I notice it often. Any of you who pay attention to some of these royal shows that they have on, there is a gentleman named Richard Eden. I watch this man very carefully as he constructs his responses about what someone in the royal family may be doing. He is constructing his responses with how they feel, what they think, how they're going to respond. And it's always intriguing to me as I watch this man. He is definitely giving off a vibe of I am telling them how they're going to respond. I'm actually telling them how they're going to act or behave. It is an interesting thing to watch. But yes, Kathy Gabby, I have to agree with you. They are held captive and they cannot do anything. There is no freedom for them, not in exchange for how they live. And that appears to be a fact. It's truly sad. Truly sad. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got caught up. Okay. I got a little bit caught up. So let's see who else we got here. Let me see if I got anyone else down here. Come on. You know, what is happening with my comment section, people? Can you tell me why I cannot see the rest of my comments? Okay. I don't know where they went. But I'm going to have to probably run around, try to figure out what happened to them, and see if I can pull them back up. It's craziness. It's absolutely craziness. Oh, all right. I see we also have Raffaella Bertoni here. Thank you so much for being here. If I'm not mistaken, you're saying, okay, you're coming in from Italy, so that means you're 6 hours ahead. So for you, it's probably the middle of the day. Thank you for taking wonderful time out of your day to be here. It is amazing. Amazing to see you here. Thank you so much. And let's see how many other things I have here going on with folks. Now, this is one. Oh, okay. All right. All right. All right. Who else? We have Connie Balmer. Now, I don't want to tell on you, but I know you and your name to be a super squatty. Okay. So I am aware that if Connie Balmer is here, you have definitely taken a little bit of time out to be here. And I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being in my chat. You don't know what that means to me to see your name. I can tell you, folks, I recognize some of you who are here that are total super squatties. It's amazing. So Connie Balmer is saying that William is not smart and that he's showing his ignorance. I'm telling you, I totally have to agree because they think they know what they're doing, but they don't know what they're doing. They think they know how people are going to react. They are beginning to misread how people react to things, but they don't get it because they don't really understand. It's just like folks who think they know what Americans want. And these UK personalities on television saying, here is how America feels. You're talking about a small group of people because you can never get your arms around all of America. And here's something else. Here's a tip. We change like the wind. You just never know. Okay. Also, thank you so much, Connie Balmer, for being here. Lady Rose, I love that. Hi, family. Thank you so much for being on tap. I appreciate that you have taken your time to join in the chat. It's wonderful to have you here. And we have J Matt. Much love. I like it. And thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate all of you for coming and being in the chat. So as I get better with this, we're going to see if I can do a better job as time goes on. So like I promised you guys, I wasn't going to keep you forever. And again, let's finish up the slides with happiness is definitely a weapon of defense, boys and girls. So you keep it on, all right, at all times. So listen, here's what's happening. The world is beginning to push back against the UK slander. They're slow, It's hit or miss. It's here and there, but the world is beginning to push back. And one of my favorite features, I love to listen to James O'Brien. I do not know if you all are familiar with him, but he's a UK moderator on the station in the UK, LBC. And he is often very explicit about his view of how he sees Prince Harry and Prince Meghan being treated. Of course, like I said, it's a drip or a drop here or there. Now, of course, it's mixed in with other people saying something totally negative. But I got to give James O'Brien his props. I like the way that he puts people on the spot to explain where they get their negative perceptions. And he does a fantastic job of putting them on the spot. I mean, this guy, he is definitely the leader in Debate Class 101. So if you all ever have a moment and you want to look him up on YouTube, you will find some of his features or some of his commentary, even as far back as 2019. His commentary, I think, is very observational and very accurate. So he too is a supporter. But the world is beginning to push back against this. Now, before I mention who this is, and I'm sure you all, if you're following all of these things in the background, keep in mind that after this Nigerian trip, I have run across, now not so much on YouTube, but in the Twitter sphere, I've run across even Nigerian media outlets and different panels of people who are in Nigerian YouTube spaces. And they too are pushing back on some of the things that were said about Nigeria. And I think that is wonderful. I know that the government, of course, cannot really take a stance, and it wouldn't be in their best interest, perhaps, to make any type of broad statements about things that were said negatively about Nigeria. But I must say, I am appreciative that there are Nigerians that have media presence or Nigerians that are actually in the media world that are making these comments known and pushing back against the UK's perception of Nigeria. And I want to say kudos, hats off. And if there are any people on this chat that have any affiliation with Nigeria or people who are from Nigeria, you tell them to keep that up. In other words, do not allow the UK media to take control of who you really are. Remember that, because that is how they keep the lies going. But I want the world, just like everyone in America, don't let them keep the control of what the story is. All right. Anyway, that being said, jumping over to another media outlet that is doing some interesting work, Byline Media. Byline Media. I see Byline Media a lot more again in the Twitter spaces. They have an online presence. However, they have featured an article about an individual who has written a book. This is Glenn Mulcair. I think I'm saying his name correct. I want you all to keep your eyes out for this book that he is about to publish. The name of the book, oddly, I didn't put it here because I wasn't paying attention. But the name of the book is Shadow Man, right? So if you want to keep an eye peeled on what might be going down with Harry's case, as now, right now, he's working on his case dealing with security. But if you want to see what might be continuing to happen in the space of cases that are still coming up against the UK tabloid media and phone hacking and invasion of privacy, keep an eye out for this book. Keep an eye out for this individual. And here's why. He said, as I was reading some of the notes on Twitter talking about this particular book, this gentleman evidently was one of the key players doing and working in and around the actual phone hacking. He is the individual that was given up and actually served time. And for whatever reason, either they didn't pay him off enough, or they didn't come back and shake his hand, or whatever deal he thought was being made to protect him wasn't. And this gentleman is the whistleblower because he was actually convicted of that crime. Now, there were several other cases that were involved, not just Prince Harry and what was happening with him being phone hacked and all of this nonsense, and all of the women in and around him being phone hacked and predatorily followed and tracked. Almost in so many of these cases, many of these names, these individuals either committed suicide or attempted suicide. I'm sorry, I'm probably not supposed to say that out loud, but these people passed away from some very dire circumstances. And this gentleman here almost took most of the blame. But now he's releasing a book where he is going to spill the beans. So I want to remind each and every one of you, keep your eyes open for this, because I'm going to be looking to read this in depth, okay? Because I'm sure that it's going to name some names, especially of UK media personalities, people who have not paid any price for what has happened with these situations. But that's coming up. So I am going to cross my fingers and hope that the media personalities, the alternative media, that they keep the pressure up and continue to push back. All right. So as you said, I don't know if these are words of wisdom, but here's where we're going to try to go with this. Okay. So I'm going to getting ready to wrap it up, folks. So once again, I showed you guys this before, and I wanted to say this. Now, of course, when I mention anything that has a Bible reference or a religious reference, please note, I am not trying to recruit you into any type of cult. Okay. Now, all with that being said, there are what I call practical applications to some of the thoughts that I might extract from a Bible verse. And that is the only reason I mention it. Okay. So remember, folks, protect your mind from being captured. Okay. That keep your mind filled with good things. And in the scriptures, it says with God's love. So remember to keep your mind focused on the good things that are happening in your day to day, in and around you, and the world if you see it. Focus on those good things. Yes, there will always be negative things happening. But remember, just like getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth, keep your day filled with the standard positive moments so that you don't get dragged down so far. Even as we watch what's happening here with Harry and Meghan, there are going to be negative things, there are going to be negative stories. But with that being said, also try to stay positive and keep things on a positive note. Remember that. Don't forget that. It's always good to stay positive. Okay? Also, I want to say, look, I have to put I love these little things where I love to put these wonderful, magical sounds along with things. And remember, the other stream service, I couldn't do it. But anyway, I want to say, keep the faith, stay strong, right? And what is it? Coming from Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, that means there are people all around you. Let us also lay aside every weight and sin that clings so closely. So, what are we saying here? As you're trying to pick yourself up and to stay positive, you might have to put down things that are weighing you down. Isn't that what Harry and Meghan are finding they have to do? In some senses, it makes you feel sad. Oh my gosh, look at what he might be leaving behind. He can't go to a wedding of a millionaire that's a friend of his. That's true. But he might have to put that down. Why? Because he needs to run with endurance. Why? Because this race is going to be ongoing and continuous. This race that is set before us, you're going to find it's continuous, right? And in the scripture, it's saying, just like Jesus had to endure carrying the cross. He was despised. He was shamed. Where is he now? Okay? That is the way we have to look at this. You have to remember that you might have to endure, you might have to despise the shame, but keep in mind, keep that faith, try to stay strong. You might find yourself sitting in the highest place if you can endure it. And it's not easy, but be encouraged to do so, right? You need to hold on. And then we're going to zoom over to James. Why? Because you're going to hold on for there is no end. Consider it a pure joy, my brothers and sisters. Remember, this is James in the book of James. If you're interested in where I'm getting these thoughts, that whenever you face trials of many kind, because you know that the testing of your faith will produce, what's the word, folks? Perseverance. In other words, I know you all have heard this saying, what will not kill you will make you stronger. So just don't forget those things. And sometimes you just need to know that this is how life is going to be working, right? This is the reality within which we live, right? So thank you guys. You persevered, you see? You persevered and you stayed to the end. So thank you guys for being here. And I hope that I can gather my wits together enough to get another chat going for next weekend as well. Thank you so much and enjoy your day and the rest of your weekend.